Hello everyone and welcome to the very first Patreon exclusive Q&A. I've gotten quite a lot of questions, so let's just jump into it. Zaylul and Tobias Stiegelmeier ask if I would ever consider doing a fan meetup. And the thing with fan meetups is you have to be kind of careful about them, because even if you plan it very carefully, you still never really know just how many people are going to show up. So you have to be really careful about what location you pick, because a lot of places you might want to meet up in the city center or something, but then there's just so many people that it causes a disruption. And the people who own that land, that property, will get very angry at you. The second thing is that I'm very anxious and I don't really do well in crowds. I don't know if I would really feel comfortable being around that many people, unfortunately. But if any of you ever show up to any kind of event like VidCon or whatever, I'm happy to say hello. I might, maybe next time I go, I might share where I am at a certain point in the day or something, and you can come over and say hi and stuff. But yeah, I'm not sure if an actual big meetup will be a thing. I'm sorry. Jack Moss asks, what age did you start to enjoy art? That's a very good question. Well, see, my mom was also very interested in art. She also really liked to draw, so she got me into it at a very young age. And I don't really remember what age that was, to be honest. I think the earliest I can remember drawing is maybe 5 years old or something. I think that's when I started to draw multiple times a week, rather than just when my mum threw some pencils at me, if you know what I mean. I think that's the age when I started being like, Mom, I want to draw something, can I have some pencils, you know? Tobias Stiegelmeier asks, is your family happy with your decision to be a YouTuber, or do your parents want you to move back and do a normal job? Well, my mum doesn't really understand, how the whole thing works. She doesn't understand how somebody makes money off of this kind of thing. But she knows that I work hard, and she knows that I earn enough to live and not frickin' die every month, so that's enough for her. She's proud of me for being self-employed and being able to live comfortably, so that's completely enough for her. She doesn't feel the need to understand it or that I should have a traditional job. And my dad sadly passed away when I was quite young. The reason I'm saying that is because people have started to notice that I don't really talk about my dad in my videos, and they've started speculating, which is kind of messed up, so let's just get that out of the way. But I like to think that he would also be pretty supportive. He was always really supportive of my drawings that I did. So yeah. Samad Shaika asks, what's your opinion on fast food? As in, do you enjoy it or find it gross, etc.? I have kind of a mixed opinion, because some days I will just think about fast food and feel disgusted, but a lot of times I crave it, because, it's fast food. You just freaking go in, ask for your stuff, you get it relatively fast, and it's always really tasty, and sometimes you kind of want some things that you know exactly what it's gonna taste like, even if you're going into a restaurant that's on the entire opposite side of the country, if that makes sense. I do prefer to try to support more small and local businesses than these big corporations, but sometimes just the convenience of it is just, Kale Animations asks, why is the Berry Special K so inferior to the original? Yeah, I don't know, but it's disgusting. It's horrible. I don't know why, but I feel like the fruit, it stands out too much among the flakes, if that makes sense. It often tastes quite sour, and I'm just trying to enjoy my crunch and my cardboard flavored flakes, and there's this frickin' strawberry being like, yo, what up? Let me punch you in the face. Screw you. Yeah, I don't know. You think, the concept of it sounds really nice, but when you actually try it, it just ruins it. Mr. Lutzig asks if I know Cologne. Of course I know Cologne. I've been there, I think 2 or 3 times now. It's a pretty cool city. Jack Moss asks, what music do you like? Now that is a big question. I like a lot of different types of genres, and it really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. And I tend to go through phases of what genre I feel like listening to in this set couple of days, and that'll kind of shift throughout the month. So some of the genres I like electronic music quite a lot, like EDM as a genre. Obviously, EDM is very broad, but I like basically very upbeat, fun tracks. One of my favorite EDM artists is Fox Stevenson. I also unironically listen to dubstep, but I'm also very picky about it. I really like the kind of dubstep that doesn't take itself too seriously, if that makes sense. And it's fun, and it's weird and wacky. I love that kind of music. Probably my favorite dubstep artist is Dr. P. I also really like rap. Mostly I like British rappers. I'm a big fan of Ocean Wisdom, and my favorite rapper of all time is Dr. Syntax. I also like a little bit of British rock, and my favorite band is Milburn. I quite like a little bit of drum and bass now and again. I'm a fan of Netsky, and sometimes I listen to really weird and obscure genres. I really like music that is really unique, if that makes sense. That's kind of why I like dubstep so much. I like songs that give me a unique experience. That's kind of a summary of what kind of music I like. Julian asks, how did you come up with the name Chipflake? It's really boring, I'm sorry. It doesn't have any special meaning or something. I was quite literally just thinking of words that I like and putting them together. So, chip comes from chocolate chip, as in like a chocolate chip cookie, and flake comes from snowflake. I don't know why, but I like the sound of the word flake. It sounds nice when you say it and listen to it. So yeah, the name doesn't really have any deep meaning or anything, I'm sorry. It's just words that I like the sound of. Would you consider opening a P.O box for fan mail? I technically do have a P.O box. The way it works in Germany is P.O boxes don't really exist, but you can open what's called a Postfach. You can send letters from anywhere, I believe, but if you want to send a package, it has to be with DHL, and it doesn't stay in the P.O box because it won't fit, so it just gets sent to your house, which is kind of weird. So obviously that creates a bit of problems because I'm not going to be at home all day to constantly get packages, and I feel like even if I specify that it's just for fan mail, just for letters, people are probably going to ignore that. And also, the other problem is that I'm not really comfortable with giving out my city that I live in. I know that the vast majority of you are very normal people who would just send me like cool letters and stuff, and I really appreciate that, but I'm extremely paranoid about those one or two people who are just obsessed and creepy and would frickin' go to my postfat and like stand outside of it and wait for me to come there. I'm scared. So yeah, that's why I don't have a P.O box, and I apologize if that's disappointing to any of you. What would you do if money wasn't a concern? Nothing. I'm an extremely lazy person at heart. I love to just lay in bed and do nothing. Maybe play some video games. Maybe doodle on some paper or something. But I just love not doing anything. So if I didn't have to work for money, I would just do nothing all day. I probably wouldn't even create art because that's too much effort. Okay, I mean, maybe that's a bit of a stretch. I do get joy out of creating art, and I do create art not just for the sake of money. But there would be a lot more doing nothing if I didn't have to worry about money. You said you could take a character designing job in your first video, and now that YouTube is your full-time job, how do you feel about it? i.e., do you want to incorporate it into YouTube or take it as a side job, etc.? Yeah, my feelings have vastly changed about the whole I would be a character designer if I didn't do YouTube thing. I don't really feel like that anymore. Reason being, I'm not really very good at character design. I get quite stressed out about character design. So instead, if I wasn't doing YouTube, I would love to direct or create music videos. I think that would be so much fun and significantly less stressful than doing a character design job. I think it would be cool if I could incorporate that into YouTube somehow. I think it would definitely be possible if I could maybe work with a band or artist or something in the future. But not right now, that sounds like way too much work. Because a music video is a lot more work than a YouTube video. Revamp Skunk and Tag on Banks asked if I wasn't a cat, which animal would I be? It's quite funny that Revamp Skunk asked this because I would probably pick a skunk. Because I think skunks are really interesting animals. I think they have this perfect balance of cute and cool, and I think that would make such a cool character. Luma asked, do you have any special plans for when you hit 500k subs and 1 million subs? I don't know if I'm ever gonna get that far, but I don't really do subscriber specials. The 250k subscriber special was a one-off. It just happened to kind of line up with, basically I wanted to do that intro animation anyway, and I just happened to hit 250k at that time, so I was like, oh, I'll just make it a 250k special. Yeah, basically, whenever I try to plan for or promise a sub special, it never works out. And the problem with your subscriber count is that it can be very difficult to predict when it will happen. So I don't know how long in advance I will have to plan for a sub special. So that's basically why I don't do them, and I apologize. If I have any cool ideas for videos that would kind of make sense as a sub-special, I would just do them as a normal video. ZQLex asked, do you like to be creative in any other ways besides art and animation? You could say that video making is another creative outlet for me. I love video editing, but if you want to also exclude just YouTube in general from that list, not really. I don't really do anything else creative. I find things like writing interesting, but I can't really be bothered to like do it as a hobby. Making videos, making art and animation is all of my creative outlets. Luma asked, is there a video you've made that you didn't like the outcome of? If so, given the opportunity, would you go back and fix it or remake it? Given the opportunity, I would go back and fix all of my videos. There's at least one thing that I don't like in every single one of them, but that's just because I'm a massive perfectionist, and for the vast majority of my videos, I was working on a deadline, so some things got cut or simplified to meet those deadlines. And if there was some way I could do that, I would totally just remake every single video with no time limit whatsoever so that they would be like absolutely perfect. I don't know, there's no one that sticks out to me in particular as being one that I didn't like the outcome of, but a lot of them do have these flaws that I wish I could fix. Nullram asked, what is your favorite computer game? It's a tie between Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Sky and Pokemon Heart Gold. Have you ever tried Jib and Mett? Yes, it's very tasty. Why do you wear that red thing around your neck? The red bandana is based on a bandana that I own in real life. When I was designing my character, I wanted it to wear some kind of accessory, and at the time I liked to wear scarves and bandanas, so I thought it would be cool to add that onto my character. Base Layer asked, which do you like more, 70s music or 80s music? I don't really listen to either, to be honest, but I would probably go for 80s because I like how the 80s started to incorporate electronic instruments and stuff. I really like the sound of like synth and these really, really goofy dance songs from the 80s. They're fun, but I do like both. Pascal Walter asked, how old are you? I'm 22. Ananas Caesar asked, which one of your art styles is your favorite one and why? I would have to say the one before my last one. I really like using frame-by-frame animations, and I like the way that I drew it. I don't know why, but my latest style it's just not really gelling with me, even though I put so much effort into it. This freaking shading and everything. I still prefer the more organic look of the previous one. So that means new art style probably soon. Rakul asked, it's been a while since Chipstreams number 2. Will you make more Chipstreams? So, the reason why I stopped doing live streams is because I initially wanted to live stream my process of making videos, but I found that I could not concentrate on making videos and talking to my chat at the same time. I always wanted to talk to the chat, and I never got any work done. So unfortunately I had to stop, but I do want to start live streaming again, but with a different concept outside of working on videos. So that way I can actually concentrate on making an enjoyable live stream and chatting with the chat and not have to worry about, oh, I need to get this much work done, if that makes sense. I don't know when, and I don't know what it'll be exactly right now, but look forward to that sometime in the future. Do you have any favorite TV series? I like a lot of TV series. Probably my favorite of all time would be Gravity Falls. That was one of the cartoons that got me back into watching cartoons, and it's one of those that I always enjoy watching, and I have very little critiques of. And yeah, if I would make a list of all of my favorite TV shows, we would be here forever. We would be here forever. Brendan Mayo, Bapedy, and Invader Nico asked who or what my main inspirations for starting my YouTube were. How I got into making animations in general and posting them to YouTube was when I discovered this community of basically preteens and teenagers who would just make animations of their brightly colored animal characters using MS Paint and Windows Movie Maker. And that basically was the catalyst that basically told me, hey, you're a little kid. I think I was 11 at the time, or 10, and I was like, hey, you're also a little kid. You also don't have money for these expensive programs, but hey, you can animate too. And I was like, whoa, I gotta do this. That's how I started making animations. As for my current channel, I think it's pretty obvious that The Other Ones Out and Jaden Animations were a big inspiration for me, but I was also inspired by these character stills commentary channels, and my intent with my current channel was kind of to make a mix of the storytime genre and the commentary genre. I definitely moved more towards the side of the storytime genre throughout the course of my channel's life, but I'm still kind of trying to figure out my own thing where I want to take the channel in the future. 103020 asked, how many of the Mystery Dungeon games have you played? I've played all of them except for Super and the Japanese ones, obviously. And what Pokemon did you usually become in the Mystery Dungeon games? Okay, I have played the Mystery Dungeon games that I own so many times that I've played as pretty much every single Pokemon. And I don't usually play as the same one every time. But the ones I usually go for first are the ones that aren't starters, basically. You know, like Riolu, Eevee, Skitty, Meowth. Those kinds of Pokemon, I find those a bit more interesting than just going with the normal starters. Zai asked, what are some other channels or creators that you find interesting or entertaining to watch? Okay, so I watch a lot of different creators. And my subscriptions are open. They're public for you guys to check out if you want to see which kind of channels that I like to watch. But keep in mind that some of them I don't watch every single video from. Some of the people I'm subscribed to make several different kinds of videos, and I just kind of click on the ones that interest me and skip the ones that don't. There's also a lot of channels on there that haven't uploaded in years, which sucks, but yeah. Go check out my subscriptions list if you want an idea of what kind of channels I watch. When was your first time animating and or practicing it? Again, that would probably be when I was, I'm pretty sure that I was 11 when I discovered this animation community on YouTube. Invader Nico asked, what advice would you have for artists looking to get better? That's a tough one, because it really depends on what level you are. I guess I would just say something really generic, like keep experimenting. If something that I usually do is to create a piece of artwork, put as much effort as I can into it, try to make it as good as possible. When it's done, leave it for a few days and come back to it and figure out which parts are not so good, which parts I would like to improve, and study those. Cutman Talks and Kiwi Leo asked, what's my favorite color? My favorite color is red, and that sounds super cheesy, but I kind of feel like a connection with the color red. I feel like I relate to it kind of in a way. So yeah, red is my favorite color, as generic as that is. Dustin Slumka asked, how long do you want to live in Germany? That's a good question. I don't know. Honestly, the only countries I would live in is Germany and the UK. And right now, the UK's not looking so hot. The whole political climate, as you probably know, in the UK is quite frustrating right now. That's not to say that there aren't any problems in Germany. There definitely are, but I don't know if I could move back to the UK right now with how things are going. If things improve, then I would definitely consider it. So, to answer your question, I would be happy to live here for the rest of my life, but I also wouldn't mind leaving. So my answer is, I don't know. Can I hug you? I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm really not a physical person. I really don't like hugs. I'm sorry. It's just, they make me feel uncomfortable. I don't know why. I'm sorry. So, if you see me in public, please at least ask if you want to hug me. And I might say no. If I say no, please don't take it personally. Marcos Velasquez asks, how much time does it take you to edit a video? So the editing portion is actually really fast because the vast majority of the work goes into making the artwork for it, doing all of the drawings, doing the animations. And then the editing is really just putting stuff together, adding a few transitions and stuff. Caddy asked, what's your biggest inspirations for your art style? If we're talking about my video art style, I don't know. The art style that I use in my videos is very much I just draw something that I think would look good. The style is influenced by so many different things that I can't really tell you what exactly inspired me to draw like that anymore. As for my regular artwork, the kind of things that I post on Instagram, that's a lot more easy to say because I often take a specific artist to be inspired by for a specific drawing. I have a collection of artists that I really like, and I will often pick one out and say, okay, I really like the way this artist colors, so today I'm gonna draw a piece that tries to replicate how they color, so that hopefully I can learn to color as good as them. So yeah, that is done with the purpose of kind of figuring out which parts I enjoy, which parts I think look the best, and then creating like a Frankenstein art style from all of these different artists. Pauline Peach asks, would you ever make a video in German? Probably not. The main reason being, although I'm pretty good at understanding German, speaking German is a completely different thing. I'm not fluent in it, and I'm not really close to fluent. The level of speaking I'm at is to the point where I can have a conversation with someone, but there will be a lot of grammar mistakes, pronunciation mistakes, things like that. So I'm not really at the position where I can make an entire video in German, or even translate my own videos into German. The other reason is, there's not really a point in making a video in German. I know some of you guys would like that, but the vast majority of my audience is there for the English stuff, and I don't know if I would want to put in the time to make an entire video in German that only a portion of my audience is going to enjoy, instead of just making that video in English so that everyone can enjoy it, if that makes sense. And do you have any pets? So, unfortunately, my partner who I live with is allergic to cats and dogs, so I don't have any of those, and personally, I'm not really a fan of keeping animals that you have to keep in cages. Not that it's bad if you guys have any of those kinds of pets, that's just my personal preference. So yeah, no pets for me, unfortunately. Big O'Brien asked, which video of yours would you say is your favorite? I quite like how the keto video came out. It was a lot of fun to work on. I'm pretty sure I was ahead of schedule when I made that video, so there weren't I didn't have to cut any corners. I could pretty much make the video as good as I wanted it to be. So yeah, that's my current favorite. Usually my favorite is the one that I released last. The video that I'm working on right now though, I think it's probably gonna be my new favorite. It's something a bit different, it's been fun to work on, and it's turning out really cool. Foresight asked, have you got any big plans or goals for the future? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I don't know if that's weird to say, but I don't really like to think that far ahead into the future. I guess I just don't like to have unrealistic expectations. You know, if I say oh, I see myself in 10 years having 10 million euros, and then in 10 years I don't have that, then I feel disappointed. But I don't really have any massive goals either. Sorry to be really disappointing right now. I think my main goal right now is to move to a different city. I want to move to a bigger city where there's more stuff going on, because I kind of live in an old people's city right now. It's very boring, and I wanna do more with my life. Brayden asked, what was your first ever Nintendo console? It was Game Boy Color, specifically the Pikachu Edition 1. Poda asked, how did you start teaching yourself to make animated puppets? Were there any good starting tutorials you found? I don't know why, but it's really hard to find good tutorials for making puppets, specifically in Flash. That's the program that I use, at least. The best one that I've found is this one from EDAP Tools. The problem with this one is that the narrator speaks really slowly, so I'd recommend watching it on 1.5 speed or something. And it's also quite boring, but I feel like it's a lot more of a professional take on how to make flash puppets than most other tutorials on YouTube. There's probably much better tutorials out there if you pay for them, but unfortunately I'm a cheapskate, so I haven't found any of those yet. Yeah, I don't really use puppets anymore. I don't really enjoy them. So yeah. Aquatail asked, are you a furry? And I'm always hesitant to say yes to this question because people have a very different opinion of what that means. So I will tell you that I love to draw anthropomorphic characters. I like watching cartoons with anthro animals in them. I think fursuits are really cool. They're frickin' wearable art, of course I like them. And I watch a few furry YouTubers. So I hope that answers your question. Hayes V asked, do you have any other fursonas beside Chip? If so, can you show us? See, this is another definitions thing. To me personally, Chip is not my fursona. I consider Chip more of a mascot because he was created specifically for my YouTube channel, specifically for people to look at and enjoy watching them talk to them, rather than being a specific representation of me or of part of me. But I know that to some of you the word persona means like an animal character that represents you, in which case Chip would be one, and that's fine if you want to say that. As for your question, I do have a few personas. This one is Alex. He's a husky wolf thing, very generic, I know. And I also have this skunk character, striped skunk, who doesn't have a name yet. And I also have this monster character who also doesn't have a name yet and is a work in progress. And I have a couple of the ideas floating around in my head, which I haven't had the time to put to paper yet. So yeah. Riva asked, do you have carpal tunnel? If so, how do you alleviate the pain so you can keep working? I have to admit, since that one video I talked about going to the doctor, I still didn't get a blood test, and I still haven't been back to the doctor. I'm pretty sure that I don't have carpal tunnel, and the thing with me is, even though I sit at the computer and draw all day, I don't get pain from drawing, but instead, I mostly get pain from holding my phone for a long time, or holding my DS for a long time. So since I stopped using my DS and phone as much, I haven't had as much pain, so I haven't really had to deal with it for a while. But when I did have a lot of pain, I would usually just stop if I started having pain. It's a really bad idea to keep working when you have wrist pain, even if you have a deadline, even though you really need to work, it's a bad idea. I know that sucks, but yeah, you just have to take an early break or something. I also sometimes wore these bandages. There are like these specific bandages you can buy that kind of squeeze your arm a little bit. I don't know if those really worked or not. Sometimes it felt like they did, sometimes it didn't feel like they did. But yeah, since I've stopped using my phone and DS as much, started taking more breaks, I don't have as much pain anymore. And a Tusa asked, when you're done with a project, what do you see? The new things you tried working out, or the minor details that went wrong? Yeah, definitely the minor details. When I'm done with something, or even while I'm still working on it, all of the problems are just right in my face, and it bothers me so much. That's why I keep changing my art style and updating the character art for Chip, because these mistakes, so the longer since I finished the project, the more the mistakes stand out to me, and the more quickly I want to deal with them. Step on Lego 986 asked, are you good at time management? I guess so. It's a little bit hard to say, because often I try something new with my videos, with each video, and I can't really predict how long that's gonna take. But usually, unless something comes up and gets in the way of my plans for the week or the month or whatever, usually I'm pretty decent at time management. Xeno Nightwolf asked, what brushes do you use for your digital art? So lately I've been using a mix of this Photoshop pencil brush by Antonius on DeviantArt and the Keki's magical brushes, also from DeviantArt. Both of these packs are free. I'll leave a link in the description. And so basically I've been using a mixture of those and the default Photoshop brushes lately. but I'm always looking for new ones, and no, I don't make my own because I'm too lazy and I don't really understand it. I know I'm a terrible artist, but yeah. So that's all the questions. If I didn't answer your question, it was either because I felt like I couldn't give a good answer, or it was too personal for me. If so, I apologize, but feel free to leave another question. You can leave 3 questions per person, but please leave it on the Patreon post. Don't put it in the comments of this video, put it only in the Patreon post. And thank you for watching, thank you for asking questions, and I hope you have an awesome day.